Hello, everyone, and welcome to the crew of Cleopatra Parade. I'm Joni Petrie, along with Mr. Stan Gravois tonight, and we're in downtown Houma, Stan, and it's their 24th parade for the crew of Cleopatra.
24th parade. They have a nice night, not too cold. We thought it might be a little bit more chilly tonight, not too cold.
Jacket.
We got our jackets on. No rain in sight, so we're going to have a great parade tonight. 600 riders in this parade for the crew.
And I know we have 21 floats.
21 floats. Big parade.
Have a nice full night, and I'm looking forward to it. And we're going to start off. Actually, we have our color board that's approaching, which is the Central Lafourche ROTC that you see on your screen right now. And
Reserve Officer Training. Those guys do a great job. All of Lafourche Parish schools have ROTC. It's such a great thing to have at your school. And if these guys decide to go military in the future, they got a head start.
And of course, we want to thank our law enforcement. As you saw earlier, probably that rode in for the reviewing stand was our sheriff, Vernon Bourgeois, for Terrebonne Parish. So we got to thank those guys for keeping everyone safe and everyone just behind the barricades tonight, because we have large crowds.
Only one more day in the Mardi Gras season. Of course, Fat Tuesday tomorrow, and things have been pretty good this year. We've kind of stayed free of any big trouble, and except for the rain on Friday and Saturday of this Mardi Gras weekend, it's been a really good Mardi Gras season. I want one of those.
I guarantee you will know you're coming.
Yeah, the nice big Hummer that the obviously the police station has, along with, I see right down the road, Sunburst Media has their 107.5 van coming along, but yeah, I want one of those. I think Jason's giving me the jump a little bit. Maybe that's not 107.5. He says it's 106.3. We'll see it as it gets a little bit closer. Both are owned by Sunburst Media.
And man, you could tell by this view right here. Look at the crowds that are here tonight. You know, we've been lucky. We've had most of the nights for the parades have been really clear, nice weather, not too cold. You know, we've had a couple of rainy nights, but overall it's been pretty good. I think they had to cancel the East Side Parade, which was on Saturday night, just some really bad weather. And that actually rode yesterday behind the crew of Turanians, so.
And I'm sure those guys enjoyed it. They would rather go on a nice, safe, beautiful day like Sunday afternoon instead of. The only problem was is the east side of Houma did not get a parade this year, because they actually followed behind the parade on Sunday, Turanians. But again, you want to be safe, and that's exactly what they were.
But you know, these crews work so hard all during the year, and for it to be kind of ruined, I would say, with really bad weather, you know, you just don't want you don't want everybody to go through that.
That's exactly right. That Hummer we saw a little bit earlier is actually kind of docked at the reviewing stand right now, and I got to give our guy Jason in the truck a little bit of credit. It is 106.3, that van that's coming up. Unfortunately, on the script we had 107.5, but it's the 106.3 van. Well, you're right about the crowd as we see the shot in front of the courthouse and over by the City Club, very deep as it gets. And a lot of people catch a parade at the very beginning and kind of backtrack and come down here and catch it again, but a very good crowd. I think the weather is really nice for tonight's parade.
Yes, indeed. And there you can see it looks like the Shriners motorcycle unit.
And you know, this is like the 4th parade I've been to this Mardi Gras season, and that's the first time I see the Shriners.
I was just about to say that. We've had some of the motorcycles before, but this go round, you know, we see some of their dune buggies and everything, but not the motorcycles themselves.
Well, one night it was extremely wet, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was for the crew of Aphrodite. And obviously, with the intricate type things they do, doing this on wet pavement. Doing this on wet pavement wouldn't have been a good thing. So it's nice that we have a good night for them to come in and do their figure eights.
Sure, that takes a lot of practice. And then you only got so much area down here to work from, because, I mean, it's really narrow street. You have the barricades along the sides to keep the people back. So, I mean, can't be that easy.
There's no doubt that this is probably the narrowest part of the entire route, with the barricades on one side. The reviewing stand kind of protrudes out into the street.
The reviewing stand takes up a lot of room as well.
Those guys do a good job.
We're going to talk a little bit about the crew. The South Louisiana Women's Carnival Club was incorporated on July 24th, 1987. It is the largest women's carnival crew in Houma with over 600 members, as you mentioned earlier, Stan. The theme this year is I Dream to Be, and each float represents someone a child might want to be when they grow up. The crew's colors are red and gold, and they will be throwing doubloons in those colors. So that's interesting, what you want to be when you grow up.
I'm really excited to see the floats. I'm curious to see who some of the, what the themes are on each of the particular floats as they pass by. You can tell these Shriners, when they got near the reviewing stand, realized it got just a little bit narrower around here. Good shot at the reviewing stand. Everybody getting ready for the parade to come along.
There we have some of the dune buggies coming up.
That's the Shriners Dune Patrol. It's kind of nice to see them all. Like I said, early in the parade season, we didn't see either the Shriners on the motorcycles or maybe the dune buggies. Now we have both of them involved in the parade, and there's quite a few dune buggies, as we could see them just about as far as the eye can see down the parade route right now past the courthouse. And I'm sure these guys use these cars more than just for parades, but this is obviously the peak time of the year for them to pull out the dune buggies, and it kind of is a signal of spring's coming around. So hopefully, although it's a little chilly tonight, weather's getting better and we're heading into the spring and summer season.
Lots of people on the reviewing stand too. It filled up really quick.
Yeah, this may be the most of any parade that I've called this year that I've seen up here on the reviewing stand. And I got to tell you, I'm up here and we both have windbreakers jackets on. There are some people down there who
they don't seem too bothered by the weather.
I don't think the cold's causing them any problems.
And I don't see any hot chocolate in those glasses.
No,
so
I don't either. I don't either.
The kids just love those Dune Patrol buggies.
Yes, they do, and this is the most I have seen in any one parade. Lots and lots of them.
I guess I'm like a child too, because I would want to ride one of those things myself.
Like I said, it kind of signifies the coming of the spring season, and fortunately it's not too cold tonight, and they're having a blast. I always say it's great to be in the reviewing stand, obviously, because these guys cater to the reviewing stand. Interestingly enough, on the other side of the street, I'm not quite so sure you have as much luck. They get kind of ignored just a little bit. One of the Dune buggies, it looks like the young man's trying to check out either whether his lights have gone out on him in the front, or is he going with some of those accessory lights that he has? Or is he?
I think he's grabbing for a bag or something.
I don't know what he's looking for. Looks like one of his tires is giving him a little problem.
Making a little bit of an adjustment. And you can see right behind that, we're going to have our first band that's going to come up to the reviewing stand and play some music for us, Stan.
Yeah, as I see down there, and we have it on the script. You can almost read it on their moniker in the front.
Getting close.
Terrebonne High.
Terrebonne High.
Yeah, I think that one guy with the Dune buggy kind of got his problem straightened out a little bit, and he's trying to get caught up with the rest of the parade as it really has moved down quite quickly now. And like you said, we'll see Terrebonne High under the direction of Mr. Von Luquette come into our picture. Good band, do very well in marching festivals. They're getting geared up for their festival in the spring, their spring festivals. They do a great job.
And it looks like they have lots of members.
Of course, Terrebonne is a 10th through 12th grade school, so they only have their 10th through 12th grade. It's a lot of schools in Terrebonne Parish where it's your 9th through 12th graders,
Right.
South Terrebonne, Ellendon Memorial. So
I
these
believe
guys
H.L. Bourgeois is another school that'll be 10
last
through
year
12.
though, next year they're going to have
I
ninth
heard
graders.
that. They're going to switch and they're going to add the 9th grade.
That's right. So you got next year H.L. Bourgeois' band obviously is going to be a lot bigger because Evergreen obviously has a huge band, and a lot of those members are now going to be kind of split up and sent over to H.L. Bourgeois. Well, Terrebonne is split up with Houma Junior High, and a lot of those kids obviously just stick with the Houma Junior High band. But again, a big band, a full sounding band. They do a great job. And as they get closer, I think we'll just listen in.
I like watching the flag team too.
Tigerettes right behind them. That is a very apropos song, The Eye of the Tiger. Obviously, Terrebonne being the Tigers. Very good, Terrebonne High School. Sometimes we see the band stop at the stand here, but sometimes they keep on moving, and that's what Terrebonne did, moving right down.
They moving right along. And that must be our past queen, Cleopatra the 23rd, which is Marlene Jewell. Marlene Jewell's escort is her son, Alan LeBlanc. She has 2 of her 3 children toasting her tonight. Alan LeBlanc and his friend Chantal LeBlanc and Marlene's daughter, Angie LeBlanc, accompanied by her fiance, Greg Odimont. Marlene's husband, Doug, is overseas and couldn't attend tonight. Marlene has been in the crew for 10 years. She served as a lady-in-waiting to Cleopatra 18th, Jeannie Molizon, in 1999, and is co-chair of the bingo committee. She rides on Carla Yelverton's float.
The headdress is unbelievable. I mean, you know, the crowns that these ladies have. And I hate to give away my age again, but that her son Alan is jumping up. I taught Alan years ago, and I taught her other daughter Angie years ago. Angie rides in the parade. Looks like they're having a lot of fun. Alan is in law enforcement. I don't know if he wants us to show him with that drink in his hand. Yeah, obviously, he is off duty tonight. And there's Angie getting in on the other side. Angie must not have rode this year. Angie works for Weatherford Jimico, actually with my wife, so I know Angie well too.
You know everybody, huh?
Nice photo, well, no, but a nice photo opportunity.
Oh, yes.
Mom and her children.
And I'm sure it's a joy for her, having been the queen last year, to come and take part in this year's celebration for Cleopatra.
Very nice. And we say this all the time about the photo opportunities. You never get that opportunity again to take that picture. So that's really nice. Now, unfortunately, we don't have everybody who's getting in now, but I'm sure that's family members and friends.
It's always a pleasure to see the convertibles that they get to ride in the carnival season.
Of course, we have the best view in the entire parade. Kind of high, get to see over the reviewing stand right in front of City Hall. Beautiful night. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, a little bit later on, we'll actually have, when they make the toast to the Queen this year, the microphone where we'll actually have Mr. Claudet here tonight mic'd and everything, or at least he'll have a microphone and we'll get to hear everything that's going on in the toast.
Yes, as he presents the key to the city to the Queen, we'll try to listen in when he gets closer. And normally he'll give a little bit of a speech.
Marlene Jewell. Often wondered what the rest of the parade did at this time, and now I look to my right, they're gone. They're way down there.
It still amazes me, though, to see how many members take part in the cruise. Like, this is over 600 members.
That blows my mind too. I agree. We talked about some of the other crews that started. One that started in the 90s already is over 400. You know. Then we talked about Hyacinthians. We were very fortunate. I got to call a Hyacinthians parade last week. One of the original members was here in the reviewing stand from 1951, and she was sitting out here in the reviewing stand. So it's kind of neat. The other thing is family, how it's involved. You saw just a while ago, Marlene Jewell had her 2 children with her. The lineage of people who are coming up, and it's become a family thing. It's really, really neat. And there she goes. I do think we have more dune buggies before we get to our Queen, if I'm not mistaken. Cajun Grotto involved, and there we see him. Cajun Grotto coming up. So if you are a fan of dune buggies, today is your day.
I'm telling you, huh?
Interestingly enough, the American flag and the Canadian flag. I wonder if we have any Canadian ties out here today.
It does amaze me, though, how many people just come from out of town, from
I
different
agree.
areas to come and take part in Mardi Gras.
More this year than any other year, just talking to people who were next to someone on the parade route who was not from the area, and it's their first time in Houma seeing a parade, and their responses of how Houma's parades are really impressive and stuff. So yeah, it's really neat.
You don't really think about it because you live in an area where that's the norm, and I mean, you don't think twice about it. You're like, oh yeah, it's Mardi Gras time, you know?
Well, I got to tell you, yesterday I was in Biloxi and Gulfport, Mississippi, and it's not the same.
Really?
No, it's not the same. It's more corporate, and you don't see the amount of fun that you see in these parades. Now, I got to tell you, the parades on Saturday night down there, they got kind of bombed with rain, and they still tried to do it, so the weather wasn't really conducive. But yesterday, no, the Houma parades do things right. It's a fun parade. Different style dune buggies. These guys must have a good time also.
And most of these people who take part and are members of the cruise, it must really be something that becomes a part of what they do each year, because you read these scripts and you see how many years they've actually been in the crew.
Well, each of the floats seem to have a camaraderie. There's a lot of friends and a lot of family members. And of course, it does last a whole year. We keep on saying this is the culmination of everything. But the entire year long, these folks have a lot of fun together. This is just the big pinnacle of everything, and it's nice to see good weather tonight so that they could do that. Now, we say that about the crew members, but these guys in Cajun Grotto, same situation. Those Shriners up there work hard all year long, so everybody involved really works really hard, and they provide Houma with a sense of entertainment, no doubt about it. Okay, I want that too.
That one?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I'll take the Hummer from earlier, and I'll take that car right there. That's neat.
Maybe next time you could make you a little poster.
Yes.
And when he passes by, you could let him know, okay, that one's mine.
Yeah.
Give me a call.
I don't want the beads. Throw me the car.
You know, I really don't know if you'd want to chance that, because they might just try it.
Yes, there are some of the throws are really wild.
It definitely wouldn't surprise me.
way back when in 1991, I was fortunate. I was coaching over at South Terrebonne and we won a state championship. And I got to ride on the back of one of these dune buggies. And I tell you what, it's something I'll remember the rest of my life. I kind of wish I'd have had a mask on, but it's something that was fun. That guy needs tune-up.
And there's our queen, Cleopatra, Miss Joni Jenkins, the 24th.
I can't believe this parade has been rolling for 24 years. That's unbelievable. Time just flies.
I cannot wait to see Miss Joni up close because she's actually a friend of mine, and I met her because she works at NREC Power Systems.
Kind of looks like Cleopatra from here.
And of course, we share the same name. It was always strange to say, hey, Joni, it's Joni.
Yeah. Beautiful float. That is a nice float for a night parade.
And Miss Joni Jenkins has been a member of Cleopatra for 18 years. She was also a lady-in-waiting back in 1999 with Marlene Jewell. She is from Houma and has always loved Carnival. Joni's ladies-in-waiting are Carol Ann Foster, Joni's sister and best friend, standing on top on City Hall side, Sandra Robichaud. Bottom on City Hall side, Enola Elliott, standing on top Bayou side, and Robin Laperouse, bottom on Bayou side. Enola is married to Eric Parfait. Carol Ann is married to Lane Foster and has 2 children, Earl Savan III and Charles Foster, and 2 grandchildren, Blake and Drake. Robin is married to Dale Laperouse and has 2 children, Zachary and Nicholas, 2 stepchildren, Karen and Aaron, and 3 grandchildren, Violet, Jude, and Amelia. Sandra, married to Gary Robichaud, has 2 children, Nicholas and Corey, and 1 grandchild, Jolie.
Very nice, perfect float for a night parade. Really like that.
Sometimes you get a little tongue-tied on all those names, but we got it.
Well, a lot of the Queen and King's floats don't have necessarily the same situation. We see younger pages, but these are obviously adults who are with her on this one.
The ladies in waiting.
600 crew members.
She is beautiful.
Yes, this is going to be fun. I'm looking for Mr. Claudez. I'm sure he'll make his way up there.
I just love her accessories. It just looks gorgeous. Really great job. And actually tonight, Joni's 3 children will be toasting her. Her daughter, Angel Sheffield, married to Roy Sheffield, and 2 sons, Michael and Scott. She has 3 grandchildren, Shelby, 10, who is on the reviewing stand tonight, Billy Ann, 2.5, and Chelsea, 13 months old. Joni hopes that someday Shelby will also have the experience of reigning as Queen of Cleopatra. Joni's hobbies include monogramming with her daughter, bowling, fishing, shopping, and a love of Mardi Gras that started at a very young age. Her dad was actually an ambulance driver, and often she got to ride in the parades with her dad, mom, brother, and sisters, or they caught the parade at the Old Ben Franklin on Main Street. Do you know what that was?
The Old Ben Franklin.
The Old Ben Franklin?
No, do you?
No, I don't.
I don't know what that was.
I'm learning as I go.
But once again, it's nice to see the lineage and how she talks about how she used to ride when she was young and with her family.
She says everything she caught was a treasure, especially the heavy glass beads. She loved to see the girls in marching boots twirling their batons and the pretty queen waving just at her. That sounds just like Miss Joni.
She's making all the young girls on the route feel like that today, I assume.
She says she remembers her Aunt Juppy entering the costume contest sponsored by the Houma Courier and is sorry they don't have it any longer. She says it is up to all of us to keep the spirit of Carnival alive. So when she was chosen as queen, her thought was, dreams do come true.
Very nice.
Which is so great because that's the theme is all about what you dream of becoming. Like, what do you want to be?
That's right.
When you grow up.
That's going to make a nice, colorful picture.
What a beautiful family.
And we do know, like you said earlier, her daughter Angel Sheffield's in there, married to Roy Sheffield, who I taught. I hate to go through all of this, but there's a lot of people through that I taught. And her two sons, Michael and Scott.
And it's so sweet because they mentioned that her grandchildren are actually on the reviewing stand, and they say that's definitely a new experience, is to be a grandmother or a grandfather. I don't know what that's like yet, but they say it's like even more awesome than just being a parent.
Yeah,
it's a different feeling. It's like you could spoil them and let them go when you need to, and
right.
then whenever their parents say no, you can give it to them anyways because you're the grandma or grandpa.
That's exactly right. You have all the French benefits without all of the worries. Now, I mentioned a little bit earlier about Mr. Claude. I don't see him anywhere here, although we do have in our script that he was going to be here.
Hopefully he'll come on a little later.
Nice photo of the entire family. That's the most I have seen up there to take that one shot, and it's kind of nice because you got everybody in the family involved.
It's so neat to hear how, like, even as a child, this was something that she always was involved in and enjoyed, and I'm sure that makes tonight just that much more special, is to now be the queen of Cleopatra and to know that even as a little girl that this was something that you've always wanted to take part in.
It's something to see, especially with the women parades. A lot of the women will be maybe a grandmother who have their daughter involved and their granddaughter involved, and the granddaughter has children who are very little, who you know one day they're going to be involved because it's just a lineage, a family lineage, and it's kind of nice to see Mardi Gras kind of become that family type thing.
And of course around here everyone pretty much knows everyone, so I know I can't walk into a store without somebody recognizing my mom and her talking for like forever.
How's your mama?
Yeah.
A night she will remember, and now next time you talk to her, you can talk about this night. Ask her how it was. That's her daughter. I think the only remaining one on the float right now. more photo opportunities. Again, Jolie's been in the parade for 18 years, and she served the time. She was actually a lady in waiting at one time back in 1999. Our ladies in waiting this year are actually in the City Hall right now, as I'm sure they're going to the restroom, freshen up and such. Again, they are Carol Ann Foster, who is her best friend, who may very well be up there right now with her. Also, Sandra Chauvin, Enola Elliott.
Sandra Robichaud.
Oh, excuse me. Sandra Robichaud. And Robin Laperouse. They're going back into City Hall. Okay, maybe not.
Oh, such a beautiful picture.
I'm going to guess that's her sister and best friend right there, Carol Ann Foster, who's with her now. Here's where there's a lot of people who get in photo opportunities. Unfortunately, we don't have it scripted in front of us exactly who it is. Those are nice photos.
The colors just make it stand out. It's gorgeous.
The floats are the nicest floats I've ever seen of any carnival season also this year. Floats were really nice this year. We talked about crowns a little bit earlier. Now, obviously, that's a crown, but it's an interesting crown, and I got it. The artwork is really, really nice in it. She's got the cobra head in the front, kind of wraps around to the back.
That is very unique.
That is something.
I don't think I've seen anything like that.
No, that's something you keep in a case. Let's see if Mr. Claude has a microphone. We'll listen in.
On behalf of the citizens of the city of Houma and the parish of Terrebonne, it is my great pleasure to present the key to our great city and parish to Queen Cleopatra 24. May she have a long and happy reign. Hail Queen Cleopatra.
That was it. Very nice. Looked like she had given him a medallion, maybe a doubloon, and a nice little, like, you know, one of the, I hate to say it, but one of the real doubloons, not one of the throw doubloons you see later on.
Yeah,
so
one of the nicer ones.
yeah. She's doing pretty good. I'd imagine our temperature's somewhere around, I don't know, 55 degrees, and she's holding up pretty good as far as the costume is not full length on the sleeves.
I think when you're moving around like that and you're so amped up, your adrenaline's going, I don't think
Maybe
that
something that's in the chalice
affects
too
you as
that helps a little bit too, you know. Yeah, I agree.
I don't think there's much time to pay attention to it. You're just so enthused about everything going on around you and so many people to pay attention to.
Her maids in waiting have been going for quite a bit of time. Actually, they're kind of just walking around on a reviewing stand. They're having a good time on a reviewing stand.
Probably go and talk to some of their friends and family. I'm so curious to see the excitement up here when the floats start passing, because there really is quite a few people in the reviewing stand tonight.
A lot of people in the reviewing stand, and the floats look really good. Of course, we're seeing them way down the road down there, but a lot of lights on the floats. And once again, everybody gets really excited once it starts moving again, because you know it's going to move at a pretty good clip from now on out.
And I'm sure the DJ is going to get cranked up again.
Yep.
As soon as the Queen heads down the road.
And if he doesn't, each float's going to have their own DJ on it, so we'll hear music, no doubt. Okay, we got 3 maids in waiting up, 1 more to go. There she is. She's still having a good time on a reviewing stand. And there she comes, I think.
The 4th lady in waiting.
That's kind of neat to have that on. You know, I know a lot of kids would like to be the pages on the floats, but it's kind of neat to have the ladies in waiting on the floats.
It looks like they're going to do a toast.
I think you are right.
That's gorgeous. Look at the monitor right here. That looks great.
Very nice. Very nice. They're actually videoing it and photographing it, so they'll have memories forever. Of course, if they want the whole parade, they have to watch us here on HTV, as we'll have everything that comes behind the Queen's float. I think everybody's getting back to their positions. We might be rolling in just a little while. You know what's happening when they pull that boardwalk up?
It looks like they're going to say goodbye as Queen the 24th, Miss Joni Jenkins, heads down to, I believe they end at Town Hall.
Town Hall.
On Barrow Street.
As a matter of fact, I've been looking up ahead of them, and the rest of the parade might already be sitting at Town Hall right now.
Yes, they're probably waiting by now, but looks like they're getting started. Head that way.
Generator's cranked up, so we see all the lights come back on the float.
Farewell.
There you go. Cleopatra 24, Joni Jenkins is on her way, and now we'll get to the floats.
There's float number 1. Top chef, captain is Liz Trosclair. Liz is president of the crew of Cleopatra. She has protocol and parade co-chair, as well as promotional co-chair. She is also on the committee for finance in the club's fishing rodeo held in the summer and the Pretty Woman contest in the fall. Float treasurers Lisa Domingue, float secretary Kathy Guidry, event photographer Debbie Kern, float committee promotionals. This committee is a time-consuming one. It is difficult to find new interesting items that are affordable each year. Promotionals is a committee that you have to work on all year. Everything must be selected, ordered, packaged, and sold in time for Carnival. Float information is the Jag float, just all good girls, is truly a family float. Lots of sisters, aunts, and cousins, and BFFs. They share lots of laughs and good times. This float is known for the detailed costumes they create each year. They also participate in the Halloween event at the courthouse and contribute to the Good Samaritan Food Bank. The float sponsor is Savan Mini Storage. Top Chef.
Lots of riders on the floats too. Big floats, long floats.
Lots of chefs on this float.
Well, if there's 600 riders in the parade, no doubt that the floats are going to be packed in. Again, 20 floats, over 20 floats, right?
21.
21 floats. Nice floats. Again, these are the best floats I've seen ever for Carnival season. Really nice floats. The King and Queens. This is a dance group coming up, if I'm not mistaken.
The King and Queens dance group is what we have.
Let's see as they get a little closer what we got.
That's one of my favorite things, is to watch the dance groups.
They have terrific sound systems for a lot of these groups that dance like this. And of course, we'll get to see them a little bit closer as they get closer. Oh, we've seen these guys before. A lot of times they're in the East Homer Parade, the crew of Mardi Gras Parade.
I really enjoy watching them. They have some great moves.
I think they're getting ready to start, so we'll see them as they get closer.
Yeah, you're right. I'm starting to recognize some of them now.
I recognize a young man in the front.
Yeah, he's always the leader. There we go. Now you can see them.
I could do that.
Yeah, right. I want to see that.
No, you don't. Ooh, I would be in the hospital.
Definitely need to do a lot of stretching before you try those
Well,
moves, huh?
it just amazes me that they're 2/3 through this parade and they're still moving like that.
Yeah, you're right. Amazing.
The body's not supposed to do that.
That was a special order right
Yeah,
there.
That's right. That's right.
Great job.
got a nice entourage following them too. As far as I'd imagine every auxiliary that goes through a parade has to have cars and trucks behind them in case anything happens along the way with
Yeah, just to take that extra precaution.
Extra equipment. And again, you said it, certainly our police department here in Houma and the Terrebonne Sheriff's Department do a great job of keeping everything in order.
And there you have it. We have float number 2. The title is Cowboy, Captain Tracy LaBeouf. Float committee and co-chair Queen Social. The Queen Social is held each year to honor the Queen and her ladies-in-waiting by her subjects. Each float presents the Queen and ladies with gifts. Family invited guests and queens from other crews enjoy an afternoon social. The float sponsor is Mr. Ronnie's Famous Hot Donuts.
Woo, throw me a donut.
Thank you.
Number 2 of 21. And I'm telling you, these floats are packed with throwers, and they're huge floats. It's good to be by the reviewing stand.
I'm like you, it's nice to be up high.
You could see everything that goes on. You could actually see the expression on the ladies' faces. Very nice, great view.
They're moving right along with float number 3.
You're right, that's float number 3.
An artist, which is something I think I'd like to be as an artist.
It's very nice.
I guarantee you it takes some artists to create some of the stuff on these floats.
The floats are beautiful, beautiful.
And the captain of this float is Becky Crapel. Float committee co-chair float loading. With the exception of the Queen's Royal Barge, the crew's beautiful floats are brought from New Orleans each year on the Saturday before this parade. All of the floats must be loaded with rows, stereos installed and ready to go for tonight's parade, so it is quite a job to make sure it runs smoothly. Each float has a designated time to load their throws. The float sponsor, Susan Griffin with Allstate.
This is a nice float, and I really like the lights on the side of it. They have the columns.
And look on the side, you see how it says Dream to Be?
Yes, very nice.
It's all lit, that's beautiful.
These got to be Blaine Kern floats also, because they're really done. I mean, top notch. They're unloading. They're having fun. And it's kind of nice on this float, you could see how each of the ladies is strapped in as far as not having any problems with falling out the float. Boy, if we would not have this chicken wire right here, Joni, we'd have just got nailed.
Oh yeah, it's happened before.
Yeah. They're trying. Unfortunately, with the mask the ladies wear, you're not quite sure if you know somebody up there or not.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to tell. You know, because they get all excited and then they start waving their hands. And this float's actually followed by, it should be the Oak Lawn Junior High School.
And that's who it is.
Yeah, I could see it now. So it definitely is Oak Lawn Junior High School, the Tarpons.
Directed by band director Eric Salmon. They'll be coming down the road. You and I mentioned this at another parade. We're both alumni of Oak Lawn Junior High.
Yes, you're right.
Me a lot longer ago than you, but as a matter of fact, I
wasn't going to say anything. You said it. So.
I don't even think Allender Memorial was a junior high when I went to Oak Lawn way back when. Always really liked their colors.
The green and blue.
See what they do in front of the reviewing stand.
All right, Oak Lawn. Show us what's going on, Oak Lawn.
We're going to go ahead and listen in if we can. It looks like they're moving right along, but we'll let you listen a bit.
See the Tarponettes and the cheerleaders. Oaklawn is a junior high, but really it's a middle school more now. It doesn't have the same situation with Ellender having 9th graders at it, so it kind of maxes out at 8th grade. They actually had their bandwagon in front of them, if I'm not mistaken.
You're probably right. I think I did see it.
We got coming down. It looks like a spaceman about to take off to space.
It's actually float number 4, an astronaut.
Very nice. Joni, I think some DJ's saying something and they think it's us who's saying everything, but we're not saying anything.
The captain of float number 4 is Bonnie Lewis. Bonnie has been a float captain for 8 years. Co-captain Melissa Kramer. Float treasurer Donna Laperouse. Float secretary Mary Ellen Knockhand. Float sergeant at arms Shannon Esgine. Float committee Masters of Revelry and co-chair Bingo. Masters of Revelry is the crew's kickoff party and the night the queen is chosen and begins her reign. Float information is the Egyptian Rockers are proud to have one of this year's ladies in waiting, Anola Elliott, from their float. In the last 8 years, 3 ladies in waiting have been chosen from this float. Liz Bonvalant in 2007, Hester Haddix in 2009, and Jean Pontief in 2010. The float sponsor is Miss Lizzie's Embroidery.
That is a beautiful float. That astronaut in the front is, I would like to just get these things after the parade's over and be curious to know if they use some of this stuff over and over again. You don't see quite as much Saint stuff as last year, but you do see a lot of black and gold.
Yeah, you got to keep the Saint stuff going.
Tell you what, the floats are coming fast and furious now. There you see.
They are moving. Here's
float number 5.
The title is Race Car Driver, Captain Joan Harlow. Joan has been in the crew for 21 years and has been a captain for 19 of those years. She has had the pleasure of riding with both her daughters and says that there was nothing more exciting. Co-captains is Betty Guidry, a charter member of the club, and Peggy Oakwind. And of course, we're competing with the DJ a little bit, so I hope everyone can hear me. But the float captains are Betty Guidry, a charter member of the club, and Peggy Oakwind. Said that earlier. Float secretary is Laura Osamon. Float committee, Queen's Toasting. This float is in charge of arranging breakfast at Ryan's for the entire crew and honoring the Queen and her court with the first toasting of the day, which signals that the festivities have begun. The float information, it's made up of riders from Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi, and Florida. The float name is Monkey Business. Joanne Pellegrin from this float served as a lady in waiting last year. Although she had health issues, they enjoy the activities at the courthouse on Halloween and the day spent in New Orleans for the viewing of the floats and shopping for beads and trinkets to throw. They support Toys for Tots and the Good Samaritan Food Bank. Float sponsor is Deep South Boat Rentals. And this float should be followed by the Cleopatra Marching Unit, which
sure
you
is.
see right now.
And you informed me a couple of years ago that this is group that is kind of an offshoot of Hercules, but Hercules spelled backwards except you
For the Y.
Except for the Y. I don't know if anybody has more fun at the parades than these guys.
Oh, I'm telling you, they have such energy.
Lots of personal interaction with the crowd as they pass by.
And look at the beads.
I'd imagine that car must be loaded down with beads because they give it out fairly quickly.
And it doesn't look like they ever run out. So you're right, they must load up.
The nice thing about those guys, they have such a good time and they do crazy stuff. There's nothing that they can do That's probably embarrassing because they just go up and down the street and jump up and down, and they
I
have a
think you're
great
right.
time. They have a great time. Once again, and I mentioned this when the dance troupe came through a little bit earlier, everybody's about 2/3 through of this parade. Now, obviously, the bands and these guys who have to walk in the dance troupe, 2/3 through the parade, you wonder if their energy would be a little bit waning a little bit, but obviously not to these guys. They're ready to go. I think they're going to be upset when they get to town hall.
I wonder if they stay energetic when all of this is over.
I would have to believe they do, because I can't see them just shutting it down when this is done.
No, it might be kind of hard to pick it up the following year if you don't, huh?
I just wonder where you get one of those suits from. And of course, we always talk about the car. You mentioned that it reminds you of Ghostbusters. It's starting to be that half Ghostbusters, half the Deathmobile from Animal House. They put the big black circle on the top.
I do like the theme, I dream to be.
Yeah, it is, and the floats are beautiful. Again, I've stated this a few times. I've never seen floats this nice in the parades as they've been having throughout the Mardi Gras season of 2011.
Well, look, they are cutting up too. You see them?
Okay, I don't want one of those suits now.
I had looked up a little history too. You know how the Mardi Gras colors are always the purple, green, and gold?
Yep.
Well, the purple represents justice, the green represents faith, and the gold represents power. Did you know that?
Never knew that.
I didn't know that either.
That's kind of neat.
They say as an interesting note that the Mardi Gras colors influenced the choice of school colors for Louisiana State University and Tulane.
You can see that. Obviously, Tulane's got a little bit of green in their color, the green wave. Now, there's also a little bit of blue. I'm not quite sure where that comes from, if it's Mardi Gras colors, but obviously LSU with the purple and gold. And actually, as I dressed tonight, I said, what's kind of a Mardi Gras theme tonight? And I grabbed my LSU stuff and put it on. So obviously, that does make a lot of sense.
Makes sense.
That does make a lot of sense.
You learn something new every year.
I tell you what, this is obviously one group, for the fun that they have, that they're going to need let's call it a portalette float. That is the most innovative portalette float that I've ever seen.
What does it say on the front?
I'm almost scared to see. Flame on?
Flame on.
This guy knows that he has to go over the top right here. I think he's aiming that one for you up there, Joni. Oh, I think he got you, Joni.
Yep.
He's having a good time.
Yep, he got me.
Now, this was more Cellucroid members than I have seen.
Yeah, you're right, because here's a whole nother group right here.
This looks like the younger ones, the ones who are coming up. It's like the older guys who are kind of training. These guys are in training a little bit right now.
Oh. Yeah, he just threw that beat at me because you said that.
Yeah, you're right. Never put your hands up.
Float number 6, a construction worker. Captain Cindy Vicknair. Cindy serves as float captain of this regular-sized float. She has been a board director, float captain for 17 years, and Cindy hailed as Queen Cleopatra the 13th. The float secretary is Sally Rhodes. Float treasurer Shauna Terrio, who is also a past lady in waiting, float committee and protocol. The float information, the float name is Wild Women Do. Name taken from a song by Natalie Cole. The 24-member float consists of a past queen and past lady in waiting. These ladies take part in handing out candy at the courthouse square, as well as giving to the needy. The float sponsor is Sunbelt Credit.
My mommy will be back next year, baby Domain. So obviously one of the moms couldn't ride this year because she's having a baby.
How cute.
There you go. That float's having fun.
Yeah, they're an energetic group.
Got here, big
Oh,
fire
we have
truck.
a Bayou Cane fire truck that just passed. There you go.
Good shot of it on the City Hall side. Again, 21 floats, folks, 21 floats. And I think we got our next float coming down. That's float number 7. The title of the float number 7 is the Olympian.
Compete with that.
Yes, that's what I was just waiting for that to go by. Nice horn on ladder number 4. Captain is Pat Stevens. Pat is a first-time float captain and says she is very proud of her float and their accomplishments. She wants to thank everybody, all her peeps, for their help, commitment, and hard work throughout the year. The co-captain of this float is Melanie LaBeouf. The float treasurer is Sharon Freyu, and she was a lady in waiting in 2007. The float secretary is Kathy Berg, and the float committee is the Queen Social. The Queen Social is held to honor the Queen, her ladies in waiting, and their guests. Gifts are bestowed upon the Queen and the ladies from each of the floats. Little bit about that float you just saw pass by. The float held several fundraisers. They ran a 5K Relay for Life, in the 5K Relay for Life, which benefits the Cancer Association. They also participated in the Over and Under Run, benefiting the Heart Association. So there's a lot of ladies that could run on that last float we saw pass by. They have taken out-of-town trips and had family gatherings, which makes for great memories. Sadly, a fellow float rider, Samantha Marcel, lost her life this year in an auto accident in October. She was a 7-year member of Cleopatra and loved the Mardi Gras. The entire float misses Samantha very much and want to say, Sam, this ride's for you.
And that was sponsored by Scrap Connection.
The Scrap Connection, correct?
Wow. And here's float number 8, which is Movie Star. The captain is Sandra Robichaud. Sandra is proudly representing her club as a lady in waiting. Sandra is a 10-year veteran of Cleopatra. Float co-captain is Robin Laperouse. Robin is also a lady in waiting this year and has been in the club for 14 years. The float treasurer is Janice St. Germain. Float committee, historian, and co-chair Bingo. The club's historian has the responsibility of gathering and creating a photo album of memories for the Queen and archiving her reign for the crew. The float information is besides the current ladies in waiting, Darlene Terrio and Amy Pepper from this float have served as ladies in waiting in past years. The float has many family members. They meet monthly at local restaurants and have a Christian party each year. They also donated to the troops overseas this past Christmas and our local food bank. The float sponsor is NCR School for Driving.
I like the Arnold Schwarzenegger on the front, the Terminator.
Hollywood.
Yep, if you're dreaming and you want to be a movie star, I guess Arnold wouldn't be a bad guy.
Gotta go to Hollywood. Well, that bright orange really stands out.
That is bright. It is bright.
Oh,
Beautiful
and they
float.
are throwing.
They found somebody they know up there. They found somebody they know. Look, that's a great shot. She got a
Look
great
at this,
shot.
cheese balls. You saw that?
So you got to hold. That's the one you got to remember.
That's a new one.
That's
I'm putting
a
it
new
on my list.
Cheese balls. That's amazing. That's amazing. Our next float, there you see it. Number 9 is the former. The captain of the former is Eva Filler. Eva is a crew corresponding secretary. Besides handling all the details involved with the reviewing stand, she is also on the committee which handles Pretty Woman contest, the club's fishing rodeo, and the finance committee. Eva is also a past lady in waiting. Her niece, Opal Portier, is the reigning queen of Aphrodite in its 28th year this year. Actually, she was queen just the other night. The float treasurer is Gail Pellegrin. The float fundraiser is Terry Kelly. And the float committee, City Hall. The float has the responsibility of making sure all the cruise guests at the reviewing stand are having a good time, and the queen and her ladies have everything they need for toasting. So their big problem that they have to take care of is here at City Hall. A little bit about the float. The SHOP float is a close-knit group of women who their slogan, "We are family," is their proud mantra. They are proud to have 3 past queens from this float. Queen Cleopatra the 6th, Luella Mount, Queen Cleopatra the 11th, Jacqueline Gibbons, and Queen Cleopatra the 16th, Marjorie Collins. This float also has 4 charter members and several past ladies in waiting. The float sponsor is Lou Mount. Ladies would like to say this ride is for you, Lou Mount.
And it's in memory of Miss Lou.
Good shot. Somebody knows exactly
They know
how
to
to
go
throw
over
at
that
this
wall
thing.
right there.
They do a good job in getting it in here too. And you know they hit the same spot 3 exact times, so that person needs to play like professional football or something.
She had an arm on her.
Yes. Another one of the bands. Unfortunately, we see the band, I guess you would call it the wagon that holds all of their equipment, but we don't see the band behind them.
Yep, they didn't make it just yet.
I'm actually looking way down the route, and I don't see the band down there. There they are, way in the back.
There
If you
you
look
go.
way in the back of your television screen, you can kind of see them. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we've seen it in the past where Ellender does a figure 8 the entire route, which some of the kids must be getting a little worn out, but they're
It
way
looks
down
like
there.
they're doing something right there.
Yeah, they do a figure 8 the entire
You
route.
can barely see it, but they do. They move around a lot.
They're one that always stops at the reviewing stand and puts on a little show, so I'm sure we'll see them in just a little while. And once again, you got to give it to all of these kids and all of these different bands in our area, because they come out and they entertain the crowd, and what's a parade without a band?
And the parental support. I mean, all of these bands that come and the kids that are in the clubs, you see the parents walking with them right on the side of them, just showing their support.
Sometimes the parents actually number as many as there are in
You're
the
right.
bands.
Just as many parents as there are students.
And they're just trying to be safe. Obviously, the entire route doesn't have barricades like we have right here in front of City Hall. Sometimes it's kind of wide open, not lighted well, so it's good to have them out there. They're coming, we promise you folks. They're just kind of far down there.
Yeah, because I believe after they make that turn onto Barrow Street, I don't believe there are any barricades
Yeah, it's
on
wide
that
open.
side.
I
It's
agree.
just open.
It is wide open.
The Patriots.
That's got to be tough to do that the entire route, though. You know what they remind me of? The Shriners. Guys on the motorcycles, they're kind of doing the same formation as the guys on the motorcycles. I'd be interested to see how the music sounds when they get down here doing that.
They might have gave him the idea.
Yep. Kind of neat thing happening on a reviewing stand, actually. And we know that the reviewing stand's going to get pelted with beads. Some of the people on the reviewing stand are throwing across to some of the crowd on the other side, giving them some of the nicer throws that they've got. Cheese balls, huh?
Cheese balls. You saw that?
We mentioned the last time we did a parade together the oddest things Joni has ever seen: can openers,
Can opener.
dill pickles,
Macaroni and cheese in the box.
Well, I got to tell you, cheese balls, that's a good one. Here they come, figure 8.
It's kind of neat because when you see them from far, it looks like ants working.
Yes, this young lady in the color guard, she's got the job of leading the whole band. So if she takes them into an alley, they're going into an alley. Okay, I've never seen that kind of march before. That's interesting. Oh, these two tuba players, they have to be burnt.
Making a name for themselves, huh?
They got to be spent.
I bet they do that in their sleep.
Yep, I think we're going to get
They are
serenaded.
gonna stop. You were right.
Here we go.
We gonna listen in?
Patriot Band. They always put on a show. Those kids are going to be tired when this thing's over. And I think the dance team is the Lady Bells in the back.
I think you're right. We have float number 10, Rockstar.
Rockstar, the captain of Rockstar is Karen Rose. Karen is the crew's treasurer, parade co-chair, and is on the committee for the fishing rodeo, the Pretty Woman contest, and finances. I got to know what that Pretty Woman contest is.
Well, you're right.
Yeah, The float committee, this is what they do. These ladies start early Sunday morning, to make sure that all 21 floats are loaded and ready to roll for tonight's parade. It takes a lot of coordination and a lot of cooperation of everyone involved for that to happen quickly and safely, and they do an outstanding job. A little bit about this float. The float's name is MYOB. On this float, 5 members have daughters that also ride, and 4 of the members have sisters that ride, and the rest of the crew is obviously good friends. Besides their donations to the local food bank, they also donate to the American Heart Association and the American Cancer Association. This float is in loving memory of Amanda Larpenteur. Nice float. This is for anybody that dreams to be a rock star. And there you see, in loving memory of Amanda Larpenteur, beautiful young lady who was killed tragically.
Lots of family members. As you mentioned, daughters, sisters.
It's full. That's the one thing. That's the one overriding theme this year of Mardi Gras, is that it has a lot to do with family. Very good. This is starting to get to be a mainstay. We always see the big wrecker. Thank God, if anything happens with a float, these guys are stationed right in the middle.
They are ready.
Grab a float and take it away. That was 10 of 21. 10 of 21 floats.
Now, Stan, I don't know anybody who wouldn't want to be a millionaire. And that's what float number 11 is.
Yeah, they could have one float.
That would be
That's
a
what
done
everybody
deal.
wants to be. It's a done deal.
Float number 11, millionaire, Captain Charlene Leeret, co-captains Suzette Dehart and Jewel Gilliot. Float secretary is Becca Caro. Float treasurer, Beth Gautreaux. Float committee, public relations, which includes the Pumpkin Patch, a 2-day event on October 30th and 31st each year at the courthouse.
That's loud.
He got me on that one. The Cleo Chicks are afloat. You think he's finished? The Cleo Chicks are a float that works together. They help one another and stand together through thick and thin. They hold small fundraisers throughout the year among their riders to pay for the cost of decorating their festive costumes. One of the greatest enjoyments is in supporting the Halloween activities at the Courthouse Square, decorating the square, dressing in costumes, and giving out loads of candy to the children in our community. We also support Toys for Tots and the food bank. The Cleo Chicks also have a special throws each year, which includes jewelry trinkets, diamond rings, necklaces, basketballs, hula hoops, footballs, and money trinkets. The float sponsor is Fisherman's Choice Seafood.
I would like to know what that is. They are throwing some kind of flyers out. That's pretty interesting.
They are throwing a lot.
Yes. They may win the award for most throws here. They are bombing the reviewing staff.
This is the nightlife DJ.
Oh, we did see this in one of the parades earlier. Boy, this thing puts out some serious music.
We're about halfway right now, as far as floats go.
Oh, I want to do float number 12 because I want to be one of them.
Oh, you changing your mind?
Yeah.
Well, if you're a Saints player, you're a millionaire anyway.
That's right.
So.
That's exactly right. We'll just have to listen right now, though, because I don't think you'll hear me. Wow. Listen to the sound that thing puts out. Here we go. Float number 12 is the Saints player. The captain is Paula Yelverton. Paula is vice president of the crew of Cleopatra. She is parade captain this year. Besides the many responsibilities that entails, she is also in charge of the crew's costumes, masks, and harnesses. She is co-chair of the bingo committee as well as Pretty Woman, the fishing rodeo, and the finance committee. And when I say Pretty Woman, it's WO/MON. The co-captain of this float is Sheila Guidry. The float treasurer is Angie LeBlanc. The float secretary is Rochelle Dehart. The float committee is the crew costumes and co-chair bingo. So that's their responsibilities. A little bit about the float. These are the Peppermint Patty girls, and they are always ready for fun. Queen Cleopatra the 23rd, this year's queen, Marlene Jewell, is from this float. Carla Yelverton, Angie LeBlanc, Sheila Guidry, Christine Sullivan, and Hester Maddox have served in a ladies-in-waiting program for the past years. The float participates at the courthouse Halloween event, gives donations to the food bank. They participate with Cops Who Care and the TPS O'Dare program, and they do all of this in memory of Mr. Timmy Bergeron. The float sponsor was Barnes Rehabilitation Center.
And here's float number 13, a fireman, Captain Mona Guillory. Mona's been riding in the crew since 1992 and says there's nothing else like it. The camaraderie you feel belonging to a club of over 650 women is difficult to explain. It culminates on Lundi Gras, but certainly doesn't begin or end there. Float treasurer is Brenda Chotnier. Float committee co-chair, public relations. The biggest job in having this committee is the Halloween festivities at the courthouse. We carve lots of pumpkins and then put all the decorations out on the morning of October 30th and take it all down late Halloween night after the last trick-or-treaters leave. We are fortunate to have so many people that are willing to pitch in and make everything come together for those 2 nights. A little information, Cleo's Pearls have monthly meetings, a crawfish ball, Christmas party, trips to see the floats, and shop for throws. Some of their throws are float-themed beads with firefighters and fire trucks, footballs with flames on them, lots of stuffed animals, of course, pearls. We raffle off a door prize at each meeting, and the proceeds pay for a free membership for someone on the float. Queen Cleopatra the 18th. Jeannie Molazon rides on this float, as well as her longtime friend and charter member of Cleopatra, Gail LaBeouf. Lundi Gras is Pearl's Night Out. Float sponsor is Main Ironworks. You have to excuse yourself for the pause, but you might get hit if you don't.
You're right. You got to kind of have an eye one way and an eye the other way. Here we go. Float number 14. The title of this one is a circus performer. The captain is Danette Kennedy. The float committee, the bingo chair. So these guys are the co-chair of the bingo, excuse me, not the bingo chair, the co-chair. And they are in charge of decorating and setting up for the Pretty Woman contest, a yearly fundraiser for the club. Their emphasis is on fun for their fundraisers. Each float is represented by a lovely woman who not only is beautiful and poised, but must also have talent to have the title of Pretty Woman. The winners are selected from all the contestants by the esteemed judges. After the contest, you can dance the night away. The public is invited. Tickets can be purchased from any members of the club. So I finally found out what the Pretty Woman contest is. A little bit about this float. Queen Cleopatra the 24th, Joni Jenkins, is from this float, as is Lady-in-Waiting Carol Foster. The float's name is KOA. The float sponsor is NREC Power System. Oh, that's some nice throws.
Big stuffed animal.
Here we go. I think what we have next is a diversion truck band. So coming up, we'll have diversion truck band. That is coming from way down there. That's impressive.
We're going to listen in.
We won't have a choice.
Yeah, we don't have a choice.
Hot on the stove, water getting boiled. Do you slow? Simply in the heat. System overload. I've been running this rap game since I was 20 years old. I hung with the worst of them.
As always, Homer, we love being here. Y'all have a good time.
Part of it, closer, pardon me, I'm closer enough. Breaking up, pressure, don't mess with us. We like the youth in the 80s.
And here's float number 15. Title is Judge. Captain Ann Beeson, float committee, co-chair promotionals. The sale of items with the crew's name or crest on them enhances every throw. Many people collect these items each year. This year, the club has a new flying disc similar to a frisbee, theme beads for each float, as well as cups, doubloons, t-shirts, jackets, scarves, caps, and posters. The float sponsor is E&E Machine and Fabrication.
Here comes the judge. Ooh, they throw.
That's a big float.
That is a big float that throws a lot of trinkets. All right, down the street, moving right along, float number 16. Float number 16, teachers. I can relate to that a little bit. The captain is Chris Claus. Chris has been in the club for 9 years, and she is a cruise recording secretary. She is also a co-chair of Bingo, the Pretty Woman contest, the club's fishing rodeo, Hook On and Hook Up, and the finance committee and Sick in Sympathy. That's a new one. We hadn't seen that before. The co-captain is Aaron Hatch. The float treasurer is Marlene Skirto. The float secretary is Kathy Lee Marcentel. This float is responsible for bingos, the Pretty Woman contest, the fishing rodeo, all of which are much needed fundraisers for the club. A little bit about the float. The float name is BADD, Bad Blank Dirty Girls. I'll let you use your imagination. Actually, Bad Blank Dirty Divas. That would make more sense. Bad Blank Dirty Divas. They donate to the food bank and participate at courthouse and Halloween. At Halloween, excuse me. Kathy Lee Marcentel, her daughter Holly Velour, and Rhonda Bassetel, and her daughter Lacey Olivier ride together on this float, as well as sisters Rhonda and Kelly Basco, and Andy and April Daze. The float sponsor is GOM Fabricators. Ooh, that's a good throw. Good arm. Really nice flows. Again, that was float number 16 of 21 we have in tonight's parade.
And up next is float number 17, a Hornets player. Captain Gwen Morgan, co-captain Sabrina Bourne, float treasurer Valerie Abair, float secretary Kathy Domingue, float lieutenants Nicole Linton, Tina Trahan, Kim Troxler, Karen Kelly, and Cynthia Garrett. Float committee co-chair Lundy Gras Extravaganza, which is the last party of the year. The Queen, her royal court, the parade captain, and 2 members of each float in costume are presented to the members and their guests. The float information would be the Dillagaff float has fundraisers such as Rata Knife sales, Coca-Cola sales, and raffles at all of their meetings. They give to the food bank and participate at the courthouse on Halloween in the Tark Parade and go to McDonald's home on parade day. They have monthly meetings each of the year, get-togethers, a fall wiener roast, a Thanksgiving dinner, a Christmas party, a weekend trip to Biloxi, and a bus trip to see the floats and do some shopping in Slidell for Mardi Gras throws. They've had 1 queen and 3 ladies in waiting on the float, and they have a lot of fun on this float, and they're like sisters. The float sponsor is Delta Coin Machines, Inc.
Floats are really, really good. Somebody obviously misses Jeremy Shockey a whole lot. He's kind of become the theme of this year's Mardi Gras. You see, we saw number 88 on the guy earlier. Superhero. Here we go. Let's move down to float number 18 as it fast approaches. Again, superhero. The captain is Dawn Cadre. Dawn has been a float captain for 2 years. A little bit about what the float does. They are the Masters of Revelry, the party where the new queen is selected. And this crew, a member in good standing who has been in the club at least a year, may choose to put her name in the hat for queen. All the names submitted are put into a drawing. The last name drawn is the lucky woman who will be the next queen of Cleopatra. Additional information on this float. The float is the Cajun Egyptians, Queen Cleopatra II, Shirley Crowley, and Queen Cleopatra IV, Ruth Gray, are from this float. They are also proud to have one charter member, Marie Elkins. The float has 2 bowling tournaments a year to raise funds, and it's pretty much a given that the float sponsor would be Creole Lanes. Man, all of a sudden we're cruising right along. I think the bands were kind of in the front of the parade pretty much.
And here's float number 19. The title is Ballerina. Captain is Carrie Leday. Carrie is a longtime member and has been float captain for 2 years. The float lieutenants are Mary Giroir, Jessica Bageron, and Cassie Parker. Float committee, Lundi Gras Extravaganza, just held on February 5th, 2011, and advertising for the fishing rodeo. The information on this float is that the ladies on this float, also known as the Egyptian divas, are wearing black leotards with a black and pink tutu. They are made up of sisters, sister-in-laws, nieces, BFFs, and new friends too. They are throwing footballs, light-up balls, hula hoops, boas, frisbees, and all manners of saint stuff. The float sponsor is on-site training. They have the nice, pretty, and pink costumes to go along with the ballerina theme.
Nice float.
With their tutus.
I think we got another DJ service that's coming down the road just a little bit because I hear the music starting to get louder and louder.
Magic Mobile DJ.
Let's see how loud this one is as it gets closer. And right behind the DJ service is float number 20, Doctor. The float captain is Stacy Crador. Stacy is a charter member of the crew. She has been a float captain for 3 years. What's a parade without marching bands? Well, this float is responsible for getting those marching bands. In this year's parade, the schools represented by their marching bands are Terrebonne High, Ellendale High, and Oaklawn Junior High. This float is known as the Cleo Cats. This is a regular float with 24 members. Queen Cleopatra XIV, Senita Connick, is from this float. They also have 3 sets of mother-daughter members, the Moores, the Petries, and the Powells. The float sponsor is T. Lee's Mini Mart.
And coming up is the last float for tonight's Cleopatra Parade, and this will be Scientist. Captain is Christine Hebert. Co-captain is Roberta Pontiff. Bambi Hebert. Melissa Hebert. Float treasurer is Stephanie Thibodeau. Float secretary is Thea Dillard. And float committee fundraisers. This committee is important to any club. These women sell raffle tickets for gifts, a cash half and half, and a chance to win a free membership at every function the club has. Some information is that the float has moms and daughters, sisters, aunts, and nieces, but feel like everyone on the float is family. They hold monthly meetings to discuss everything they need to do to get ready for the magical night. They have lost a dear member on the float this year, Miss Faye Pinkston. She was a joyful person who always had a smile for you and was eager for Mardi Gras. She is sadly missed by her float. the BAG float, Bad As Girls, sell the world's finest chocolate to help pay for the decoration of their costumes and pants and other float expenses. They have a family day each year with a cook-out and get together to go shopping and fun. Float sponsor is Marlin Services LLC of Houma.
Nice float, really pretty float. And they are throwing. I think that's the one I'd want to be on, the last one.
And Stan, has been a great night. We had some great weather. The crew really moved quickly and smoothly. I thought it went really well.
The floats were beautiful and no problems up here. The reviewing stand had a great time. It was a really, really fun night.
Great time. So we hope every one of you had a great carnival season. I hope you enjoy your Mardi Gras tomorrow. So this was Cleopatra's 24th parade. We hope you enjoyed all 21 floats. Have a happy Mardi Gras.